To Mombasa, where the National Land Commission Chair Dr. Mohamed Swazuri is today set to lead other commissioners in assessing the grabbed land along Mama Ngina Drive in Mombasa. Let's cross over to Mombasa, where our Coast Affairs reporter Tobias Chanji is. Chanji, good morning, and it's of course going to be a lot of activity when Dr. Swazuri will be engaging officials within Mombasa County over issues of grabbed land. This is not the first time that you're hearing about land cases, and land, of course, is such a sensitive issue in Mombasa County.
Very good morning, Brenda. Actually, we've said in Mombasa, in the office of the National Land Commission here in Mombasa. Just to tell our viewers that on Monday, the President ordered the repossession of some grabbed land from the Mama Ngina drive-in. Also remember that the President was here on Monday to just launch the regeneration of Mama Ngina drive into a modern beachfront where they're going to build an amphitheater and other leisurely facilities to make it a modern beachfront. And one of the challenges that was there, of course, politics superseded the entire launch, but one thing that was mentioned was that the President ordered the repossession of grabbed land, and that's why the National Land Commission today, in partnership with the county government of Mombasa, will be having a site visit at the Mama Ngina drive-in in an hour's time, just to assess maybe the acreage of Mama Ngina and the acreage that has been grabbed there. But joining me in studio is Dr. Mohamed Swazuri, who's the chairperson of the National Land Commission, to just break it down to the viewers, maybe how large is the land and what are the acreage that have been grabbed there. Welcome to our studio, Dr. Swazuri.
Actually, you are right. We have come here as the commission, and as the chairman of the commission, we are merely implementing the directive from the president, and the president knows that when he gives that, it is part of the constitutional mandate of the commission to come and verify the properties that are said to have encroached upon the large Mama Ngina recreational grounds. So we are going to partner with the Ministry of Lands as directed by His Excellency the President. We are going to partner with the county government of Mombasa and the office of the county commissioner, Mombasa. In 1 hour's time or so, we shall be on the ground to physically move around and look at the properties and then give an assessment of what has happened. After that, we now go to the records and find out the particulars of the exact parcels that are there. So far we are here. We have been analyzing reports. The county government officers have arrived. We are also going to spend some time with them and the Ministry of Lands to concretize our facts before we go to the ground, so that we can give you a comprehensive report of exactly how many there are, what is the acreage, and so on. At the moment, we are almost talking about 50 or so acres, but we will still confirm that as within 1 hour's time.
Is the 50 acres the one that has been grabbed, or the entire?
That is the entire. That is an approximation of the entire original Mama Ngina recreational grounds. Now, within those 50, that is when we shall find out how many were carved out and what is the acreage of those ones which are carved out.
Yeah. Apart from Mama Ngina beachfront, there are also other beachfronts, especially in the coast region, that have been grabbed. Maybe you can just give us an update of those.
Well, it's a controversial subject. Over the last 6 years when we have been in office, we have been looking at them from right away from Lamu up to Vanga. Perhaps the most obvious ones are the beach access roads, public access roads. And I think we have 18 of them from up there up to Vanga. And I think for our efforts that we have done, we have freed, I think, 15 or 13 of them. That has enabled now the public to go to the beaches over the weekends, sometimes even during the weekdays, in the afternoons. You find there is some, it is from our effort of freeing those public access roads to the beach that has now rejuvenated the interest of coastarians to go to the ocean. So if you go there in the afternoon, starting from tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, up to Sunday, you go in the afternoon, everybody seems to be liking to go to the beach, right from Lamu all the way to Watamu, Malindi, up to South Coast, Diani, Ukunda. People now have that freedom to go and access those passes. There are some which are still under scrutiny because documentation is difficult to get. But for public access, I think we have done well.
And how was it grabbed? Because most of the people that are owning this land say they have proper documentation.
Well, that is an allegation that there are proper documentation. But you see, these things were not grabbed last year. These things were not grabbed 10 years ago. These things were grabbed many years ago in the 70s, 80s, and perhaps 90s. Okay, when there was some kind of laxity in the way of allocating land. But even during then, the law was still clear. Riparian land, public land were not there for allocation, were not available for allocation. So some people might have used as scrupulous means to allocate them or demarcate them. But that now has been caught up by the Constitution, which now has affirmed a position which had been there long ago, that public utility land is not up for allocation.
Another concern has been on the ownership of islands, because we find that there are several people, individuals, who've been owning big chunk of lands on islands, especially in Kwale and parts of Lamu and Kilifi.
In fact, we are about to come back, maybe in the next 1 or so 2 weeks, to come and make a decision on some of these islands. Now, it depends on the size of the islands. It's not that islands should not be inhabited, okay? But if you have ecologically sensitive islands of half an acre, quarter an acre, 1 acre, those ones are fully surrounded by water. These ones are riparian lands, because that's where we have a lot of species of fish that breed from. But an island like Mombasa, you can't say it should not be inhabited. Island like Pate or Siu, these are big parcels of land. What we are interested in is within those islands, there are riparian areas which should not have been allocated. And we have seen, like in Mayungu, in Malindi, people have constructed up to the water. And that is not allowed all over the world. Yeah.
Okay. There's also fear in the island of Mombasa, where people are saying most of the buildings have been constructed on illegally acquired land, and maybe bulldozers might be moving in any time. Are you aware of this?
I'm not aware of that. I think the county government of Mombasa can explain that. What we are interested in, even within Mombasa Island, is any public land that has been moved to private land. Any riparian land surrounding the island which has been allocated to private individuals. And we are also coming here, I think in the next few days, to come and now announce our decision about the lands that are sitting on navigational aids. You remember we were here in 2016. We have done our research, we have done our searches, and found that there are parcels which actually on navigational aids, which are making it difficult for ships to see the route into the port. And I think that one we have concluded. So within the island, any public utility land is of our interest. Like you saw when we came here at Fort Jesus, where they were constructing the wall. We also came back here 2 weeks ago. The county government, we were with them, together with them there. So as long as it is public utility land, we are going to deal with that. Okay, I just also want to announce that together with the county government of Mombasa and the political leadership, the member of parliament from Vita, Honorable Abdul Swamad, we have been on a program since 2015 to see how houses, we call them houses without tenants at will, or houses without land, or titles without, something like that, where we have a landlord who has rented out his land to several people who have put up our usual Swahili houses. but the land belongs to a landlord. These people pay rent. So we have had negotiations between landlords and tenants to come to an amicable solution on how they should pay, how much they should pay, so that they can be transferred. They can be officially subdivided and transferred to the sitting tenants, because we are certain that they will not move out. So the owner has their land, but they are not free with it. The tenants have their houses, but they have no ownership documents with it. So I think that one, we sent our valuers in in October, and in August, and we have now complied with the report, and we are ready now to bring back the parties. We analyze, agree on how much they are supposed to pay, so that we now can give now titles in Island Central, Mwembe Tayari, Guraya, Mwembe Kuku, Kaloleni, up to Spaki, Kingorani, all those areas, so that now people can own titles.
Okay. Thank you, Bwana Chair. If time will allow, Brenda, I'll also engage the CEC for lands for Mombasa County to just give us an update of the land that is supposed to repossess. Welcome to our studio, KTN. We are live.
Okay, thank you, Washira. So, as the chairman spoke, and following the presidential directive on Monday, when we launched Mama Ngina Gardens, of course, as a county government, when we went there with the planners, we noticed that some parcels had been excised off, and there were actually walls. So this was part of what has been envisaged to be part of the waterfront gardens. So of course we made that appeal, and we're happy that with the support of His Excellency, he directed us together with the National Lands Commission, and that's why we're here today. So we're here to deliberate. We will share what we have as the county government of what we think they should look into, after which we'll do a site visit to physically go there and see maybe these are two plots or 3 or 4 that are actually on the way of the waterfront gardens. But like the chairman said, there's much more than Mama Ngina. We also have a lot of public or land which was meant for public use, but for now has been access to private use, and we want to bring this back. Some of it affects, part of our housing projects or some of the public utilities. You saw what we did with Kibarani or what the chairman was talking earlier. So I think, in a nutshell, it's an ongoing effort. We are really trying to bring this public land back, because Mombasa is the smallest county. We don't have a lot of land mass. So if we do not get this land for public utilities, this town will be short of essential services.
Okay. Then tell us maybe a little bit of Jomo Kenyatta or Pirates Beach.
Well, I think Jomo Kenyatta Pirate Beach is part of the ongoing efforts that we're having with Mama Ngina Waterfront Gardens, because I think the discussion which has been there through the ministry, the generous help of the Ministry of Tourism, together with KWS, National Museums, who actually are managing the land, as a county government, we came up with a blueprint. We want to make it much, a good beach area, build some facilities to be there.
Brenda, there you have it, that the CE for lands from Mombasa County, just speaking to KTN News earlier on, we had engaged the National Land Commissioner Chair, Mohammed Suzuri, who has just told us what they're going to do in the next 1-hour site visit, and thereafter they'll give us another briefing. Back to studio.
Right, thank you so much, Tobias Chanji. Always a pleasure talking to you as you bring us up to date with what is making the headlines in Mombasa County. Once that exercise begins, we shall give you live coverage. But now let's shift our focus to matters education. Now, the Auditor General, that is Edward Ouko, has released a report which shows that 85 schools that are upgraded to national schools are not fit for students who are actually in high school. This is because they're overstretched when it comes to teacher-student ratio, and of some schools, students are forced to, have meals in tents when it comes to dining halls, because the dining halls are not, cannot accommodate the high number of students. But this is despite the government talking about, a smooth transition from primary to secondary schools. But what the report by the Auditor General, it actually shows that there is lack of funds. So let's talk to Oma Otieno, who's a teacher at Nia Girls High School, and is joining us. The teacher is joining us via way of phone. And thank you so much, Mr. Otieno, for talking to us here on KTN News Center. Just to get things